Hey, with Christmas right around the corner, you might be wondering what to get your photographer friend or significant other. Well, I'm here to give you 7 ideas that are under $100 that will hit the spot. Before we dive in, I just want to say I own all the products that I'm about to talk about, and I am not giving you any affiliate links. So this is really just some good ideas, products that I like, tools that I find useful in my photography that hopefully your friend or significant other or partner will also enjoy. So let's get right into it. Number 1, UV filters. Now, a UV filter is great because it's a gift that's kind of hard to mess up, and they essentially only serve 2 purposes. First is to block out UV light, but second, you can think of it as kind of a screen protector for your lens. You might have one for your phone, and I tell you, you're probably happy if that ever gets scratched and therefore your phone didn't get scratched. Well, in the same way, this piece of glass essentially protects those very expensive front lens elements. So if you're in the forest or you're throwing your lenses around a bit, or maybe there's a dusty environment or anything like this, if this gets the scratches or maybe you drop it and this gets the crack, you're going to be so much more happy than if that would have happened to your expensive lens. Now, there are many brands. I'm using K&F, B&W, and Hoya. They range from 10 to 60 bucks. You could probably even find them for more expensive. There's a lot of debate out there whether they impact the quality of your photo, but I would say, in my experience, they don't. So it's really just that protective element for me that I really value. Now, there is one thing to look out for when you're choosing this UV filter. You have to make sure that the thread size is the correct size for the lens you're purchasing it. For instance, this one is 77 millimeters, and it'll say that right on the UV filter. That needs to match with the lens. Now that's very easy to figure out. If you know the name of the lens, you can simply type in thread size, name of lens. You can also find that usually directly on the front of that lens. So that's my first recommendation, the UV filter. Number 2, a microphone. Now, if your friend is doing any sort of video, a microphone that is not the one built into your camera is a huge help. There are several types of microphones you can choose from. I in particular use 2. One would be called a lapel or a lavalier microphone. It's actually what I'm using right now, attached to the pool pocket here. Another type would be a shotgun microphone. Now the difference between these 2 microphones is that the first one, the lapel mic or the lavalier mic, is usually small, usually clips onto something, and it's omnidirectional, which means it takes in sound from all directions. This is useful if you would record, say, a nice environment in the forest. You'll be able to get the sounds of the trees and the wind and the birds, and it really just gives a nice soundscape. Whereas a shotgun microphone is much more useful if you're conducting interviews or you're filming directional videos, because it only picks up sound, or not only, but it primarily picks up sound in one direction. So it's more sensitive to sound coming in one direction. So those are the 2 types of microphones you can look for. They range in price from 10 to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Common ones are the Rode Video Mic or Video Mic Go. You have some from Eduje, and also the infamous Takastar SCG 588. I have one from Eduje and also the Takastar, and I'm happy with both of them. They were about 30 and 50 euros, and I have had 0 complaints. The one I am speaking on right now is the Eduje ETM 001. And again, that's a lavalier mic that's just plugged into an extended mic cable. So that is suggestion number 2. Number 3 is extra batteries. These are such an easy and great suggestion. I bought 2 off-brand batteries for my Sony a7R III, and they last just as long as the original. I've seen 0 problems with my camera, and Sony has such great battery life that I can quite literally go on trips, take my 2 extra batteries, and not even bring a charger. These last for seemingly ever. So I would highly recommend this. It's really really great to have more than one battery, just for the reasons I just said. So you could be on a trip, your battery dies, you just pull out another one and you're good to go for another week. I would highly recommend them. They're not too expensive either. You can find batteries ranging from, again, about $20 to $50. So just read some reviews, pick some good ones for whatever camera your friend has, and they will be happy to have received them. Number 4, the lens blower. Now, this thing is quite simple. It essentially just blows air. But being that mirrorless cameras are more and more popular, and very likely the camera that your friend has or that you have is a mirrorless camera, dust can get on the sensor much easier, and it can also get just simply on the front of your lens. And rather than always wiping it down with a microfiber cloth or something, which could also drag those sand grains or dust grains across those elements, especially in the sensor, you would never do that, only on the lens front. You kind of need a lens blower. And again, it's a very simple thing. It has a small hole in the front, and it just sucks in air through the back, and you squeeze it, and it blows air. But it blows a strong enough stream where it can really propel those elements out of your sensor or out of the front of your lens. This thing is $5–10. It's a great little thing, and I always have it with me because no one wants dust on their sensor. Number 5, a flash. Now, every aspiring portrait photographer should have a flash, and more so than the one that comes perhaps on your camera that just pops out at the top, because that means that the flash is always going to be directionally in front of your camera lens. It's very nice to have an external flash where you can kind of put it off camera so you can play with the differences between light and shadow and really emphasize what you want in your portraits. The one I use is called the Godox 660T, and I use that with a T1 transponder. Now this is called a speed light. It has some fancy options for a high speed sync depending on how fast my shutter is moving. But in the end, it's a simple flash to use, and it's nice enough where it can produce high quality flash portraits. And I would highly recommend looking into these. I think the flash itself is around $60 right now, depending on if it's on sale or anything like this. There are also several versions depending on what kind of camera brand you have. And the transponder that goes with it would be about another, say, $40 to $60. So this is just about a $100 package if you would get the transponder and the flash together. Perhaps you could find it used or on sale for even less than $100. But if you really want to step up the photography to the next level, using flash and using light and playing with light is that next level. Now, number 6 is a tripod. If you want to take videos like this, you need a tripod. Or if you want to take, say, long exposures of a landscape, if you want to focus stack, so you want to take the same image with different focal points and then put those into one image, you need to have a stable camera, and a tripod lets you do that. If you want to do astrophotography, you need a tripod. Tripods are very handy, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. I have kind of a lightweight travel tripod, which I don't always take with me. I'm very often shooting by hand, but even so, I do have a tripod, and it's very useful as a photographic tool. As I just said, the flash is a great thing to have. Well, having a tripod to mount your flash on is also extremely useful. So these things kind of go together. And again, the tripod can range in price from $20 to incredibly high if you want to get a fancy kind of carbon fiber one with a moving ball head and many options like this. But in general, you can find a good tripod, let's say, between $40 and $60. Once again, there are so many tripods that are used on the used market, and it really depends what kind of photography you're interested in. If you're going to be moving around a lot, I would look for a lightweight one. But if it's just going to be for a studio doing portraits or astrophotography, those need different types of tripods. So if you're doing portraits, it can kind of be anything. But if you're doing, say, astrophotography, you'd want even kind of a sturdier tripod, so your camera is very fixed doesn't shake at all, especially if you're using a star tracker or something on top of that tripod. Then of course you would need a very sturdy tripod. Anyway, there are many tripod options out there, and it's a very nice gift, and it's a very nice tool to have in your photography arsenal. Okay, number 7, last but not least, is an umbrella or a soft box. Now, this goes in combination with a flash, and essentially what it does is it allows the light from the flash to become more dispersed, which will allow for a softer light on your subject. These are very good to have while you're taking portraits. It's particularly for portraits or product photography, anything where you have a subject that you're trying to capture. There are several different ways you can mount your flash in combination with these soft boxes or umbrellas. Another way is called with a Bowen's mount, which essentially kind of clamps on your flash. There are other ones where you can screw your flash in and the softbox kind of attaches to your tripod. There are many options out there. The umbrella is kind of the cheaper version of a softbox, and typically the umbrella works by shooting your flash backwards off kind of a reflective surface, which then bounces the light into a large white sheet in the front of the umbrella, whereas the softboxes typically shoot forward and they have that white area to disperse the light in the front. Both work great, and I actually use a huge umbrella. I have a 2 meter, so say about 6 feet diameter umbrella, and I put that very close to my subjects. The closer it is to them, the more soft that light comes. So it's pretty funny to try to shoot with this huge umbrella next to their heads, but it really delivers high quality results. So I would look for kind of the largest umbrella that you see fit for whatever space that the photographer operates in. Again, the larger that umbrella, the larger the softbox, the more diffuse this light will be, the softer it will look. And that's my last suggestion. That one is about, again, 20 upwards. You can find an umbrella for about 20 bucks though. So it's, again, a very affordable gift that will really allow the photographer to try some new things out. It's a new tool, and I'm sure they'll be happy to receive it. So those are my suggestions. I hope you guys liked this video. Feel free to like and subscribe. I will appreciate that. And that's all. Have a good holiday.